Hey everyone, welcome back. I've been wanting to try making a card that doesn't include any stamps. I've seen many creatives shop their stash and rely solely on technique to achieve stunning outcomes with their cards. I thought about this for a few weeks after finishing an Altenew Academy course that I'll talk about at the end of this video, but here's the dilemma I faced with die cutting. I was trying to find a way to add new and interesting texture without any stamping medium or without justifying different textured surfaces such as glitter cardstock, mirror cardstock, textured paper, you know what I mean? And after putting this idea aside, I ended up finding a video about gift wrapping. And that's when I had my aha moment. I decided to use some thin specialty paper from a local stationery store and make pleats before die cutting for a fun and shocking texture. Here's how I made a card using only dies, and I'll include this concept as well as a few others in this card tutorial. So here are the 3 dies I'll be using today for this project. All of them are from Altenew. I'll be using the cross-stitch canvas cover die, Virgo Zodiac Constellations die set, and Bold Alphabet die set. It is one of my girlfriend's birthdays this month, so this is her card, hence the Virgo. The first thing I will do is very simply cut a panel of white cardstock using the cross-stitch canvas cover die from Altenew. I wanted to create an even, ordered background to balance out the stars of the Constellation die. I thought I would add some colored stars to the background as well, so before I set this panel aside, I'll add some shimmery pink splatters using Altenew Puffy Heart ink spray, and that'll be the only liquid medium I use. I'll set this aside to dry and work on my next element. For the next element, I'll work on the Constellation. If you haven't seen the Zodiac series of dies from Altenew, there are 12 signs, each containing a die for the name of the Zodiac sign, a die that cuts out the stars and a stitched line connecting the stars, and a die that cuts the entire constellation as a solid image. I'll be using the latter of those dies for this project. Stacking dies is an easy way to add dimension if your die doesn't contain a lot of open areas or is only one piece. It's simple to create stacked die cuts for hide on your card. As an added bonus, instead of cutting all the dies in one color, you can add a very subtle colored element by cutting the lower images in a different color than the top image. So in this case, I'm coordinating a purple color with the paper I'll use later in the video for my lower die cuts, and then a glittery black cardstock for the top image. So with 2 purple images and 1 black image, I'll stack and glue these images for a chipboard feel and set this aside to dry. For the final element of this card, I'll be using this specialty paper from a local paper supply store. It isn't a cardstock. In fact, I consider it more of washi paper. It's almost like tissue paper, but just a little bit more bougie. I'm going to bring out my scoring board and add some score lines to this piece of paper. Now, this isn't the first draft of my card, so I learned that you'll need a long enough piece of your lightweight paper to be able to add enough pleats, but also a paper that won't create too much bulk to where you can't die cut it. You'll see what I mean by this in a second. So I'm scoring this paper at every 1/4, followed by every 1/8, all the way until I reach the end of the paper. I'm using a ruler to prevent the paper from shifting as I'm adding score lines. Once I reach the end of the paper, I'll begin folding the cardstock into pleats. I had to be pretty gentle with this paper as the nervous sweat from my hands was warping this paper, so I was trying to minimize handling it as much as possible. I checked if I had enough pleats by bringing the Altenew Bold Alphabet die letters over to my project, and once I had enough pleats to pass the height of the characters, I used press and seal to hold everyone down before taking them to the die cutting machine. I also cut a set of letters in vellum, in this case HBD for Happy Birthday. I used the vellum as a drop shadow to the now pleated die cut letters. Adding this drop shadow is going to make gluing the pleated die cuts so much easier because it adds some structure to the flimsy paper. Before I assemble the card, I'm going to grab my embossing labeler and spell Virgo and adhere this to a scrap piece of cardstock for structure. Now I'm ready to assemble all the die cut pieces. My splattered canvas cover die piece is already adhered to a note card base. I'll bring over the die cut constellation and glue this piece to the center of the card. Next, I will work on the letters by adding foam squares to the back to raise it above the die cut constellation. I love how the slight halo of the Constellation die cut coordinates with the pop of the purple in the letters. Lastly, I will also foam mount the Virgo embossed label strip and add this right on top of the HBD letter die cuts. Before calling this card 100% done, I'll add a few gold sequins to marry the gold elements in the washi paper. And that finishes this no stamps Zodiac card. Any Virgos watching right now? I'm a Libra Scorpio, the cusp of drama and criticism if you couldn't tell. But anyway, I'm also showing you the first draft of this card. Funny story about this. I thought I'd try a different camera to film this tutorial, and it stopped filming after 5 minutes while I was in the crafty zone, so I lost all of that footage for this first card. So after crying myself to sleep, this is the video you're now getting the next day. So anyway, this video is in conjunction for my class submission to Altenew Academy's Easy Die Cutting Techniques for the Altenew Educator Certification Program. If you've never heard of AECP or Altenew Academy, I highly encourage you to try a course. I've got an affiliate link below to take you to the course catalog, but usually you can find classes for free over at Altenew Academy. Hey, thank you so much for checking out my video on the card making process. I've got a list of materials for this project listed in affiliate links, and I always appreciate your support for my channel, blog, and IG. If you like what you've seen from me, please like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a future video. As always, I'll talk to you all very soon, and have the best day.